I want to thank all the other people who were very instrumental in me winning this award. I would also like to thank the Academy and say hi, Mom. Hetepu, Namaste, Assalamu Alaikum, Haru Nefer. This is Kasank Ma Keparu with another video for you. And in this video, we're going to talk about how to perform sex magic. But before I do that, I want you to hit the like button on this video. And if this is your first time watching, welcome. Subscribe to my channel to get more videos of this nature. And also share this video with family and friends because we want to get this revolution started. Now, how to perform sex magic. I am not going to get into all the tantric positions and all the really cool mantras. I'm just going to cover this in a very overarching way and get into the principles about why it works. And that should be enough for you to start on your journey, and you can do supplemental research on the internet or YouTube, and they have a lot of good information there. But first, I want to start out with taking a divergent path to talk about where we are in society today. And what's happening is that we have the cabal, the ruling elite, that is twisting everything. So what is good is now becoming bad, and what is bad is becoming good. And we're seeing this in modern media. It was predicted by George Orwell in his book 1984. I think he called it Newspeak. So these things are now coming to pass. And most recently, you can see television commercials and the whole proliferation in mainstream media about toxic masculinity. Now, this is just their way of trying to emasculate males. And just so you understand, the yin and yang energy are very important. And when you emasculate males, which are the strength of the nation, they defend the nation, they're the defensive and the offensive forces, then you make it easy for foreign invasion, then you make it easy for your own government to turn against you because you have no defense. So they're also trying to get women to accept the idea of an emasculated male as the person they should be with. You'll see a lot of this, the precursor to this was the Christian, the Catholic churches, all these Western religions that came along and looked at the body, the naked body, the human body as being sinful. And we know there's nothing sinful with the body. And we also know, to add on to that, that the feeling of attraction that you have, the feeling of sexual energy that you have for someone is not an evil thing. It shows that you're a very healthy person, that the raw Kundalini energy within you is flowing properly. It's actually when that attraction and that good feeling is not present that there's a problem. You have an energy block. But as I said before, they're trying to twist things around. Because when we were in ancient times, the people walked around naked because it was a very hot climate. And we didn't look at each other with lustful eyes. There's nothing sinful about the body. In fact, we saw the other person as an emanation of God. And this takes us to the understanding of nature. We are part of nature. We are one with nature. And what is nature? Nature is the presence of God as the mother patron Aset or Isis. She was nature. And she gave birth to us. And in the story of Asar and Aset, she had the Immaculate Conception. But now, let me just go into the subject at hand, because I just wanted to lay that down as the foundation so that you understand that we have to get away in this society from doing things pleasurable for pleasure's sake, because that can lead us down the wrong path. Now, the first thing I want to cover is performing sex magic as an individual. If you're single, this works very well. When I was in film school, they taught us how to write screenplays. And one of the analogies they used to help us to understand how to manipulate the emotions of the audience was to think about sex, meaning sex starts out, subtly, and then there's the arousal, and then there's the climax, and there's the orgasm. And movies, especially horror movies, are much the same way. And as an individual, when you're pleasuring yourself, this goes back to what I was saying before, Don't just pleasure yourself for pleasure's sake. You want to start out with an objective, and that objective can be graduating from college, getting more money, having your business prosper, getting the house or the car, or getting a mate. And you hold in your mind's eye a visualization which we can call a slide. And a slide is an image that is very meaningful to you. It resonates within you. You hold that image while you're pleasuring yourself through the process of masturbation, but you don't allow yourself to climax or to explode. You just keep focusing on that objective as if you have already acquired it. And that good feeling, coupled with that visualization, is going to increase. It's going to spark that raw force. And when you're channeling that raw force into an objective, what I always say, you are a reality generating machine. It is now a seed that is going to blossom. It's going to take root and come to fruition. Now, there are times when you can allow yourself to have that orgasm or to explode, but you want to do that very infrequently because you want to store that Kundalini energy up within you. It's very important. You want to store it as much as possible and release it, preferably on the full moon, but don't continually release it because that depletes you. But again, holding in your mind's eye the visualization of what you want, and you must want it passionately. And this technique will help you to achieve it. Now, one of the things that can strengthen this and magnify the energy is you start reciting a Tantric Mantra. And I can give you one now by the goddess Heteru or Hathor, the goddess of love. And it goes, cling, cling. And you're reciting that mentally, cling, cling, while you're looking at the visualization, cling, while you're pleasuring yourself. And this is very powerful when you're doing it. And don't forget, the energy that you feel, that pleasurable energy from this, is a good thing if you have a positive visualization. But again, don't do it for just pleasure's sake. This is a means to an end. It is a means for you to become God man, God woman. And this technique goes, again, I don't know if I said it, but it goes for women or men. It works well, but single folks. Now let's talk about the couples doing this technique. And the couples will do this technique when you're engaged in the act of lovemaking or intercourse. And what you want to do is, prior to doing this, set an objective that you both agree upon, because you don't want divergent objectives. And this technique is magnified because you have the yin and the yang energy coming together. And if you ever see in ancient times, the serpent, especially in Chinese culture, that serpent is a symbol of the Kundalini energy rising up within you. So when you're having intercourse with your mate and you agree upon an objective, and you both should have the slide in your mind's eye that you're visualizing, and you're just going through the sexual act, hold as much as possible and keep from climaxing an orgasm. Because once you do that, you deplete the energy, but you want to keep it going for as long as possible. And again, the objectives have to align. And then you can allow yourselves to reach that climax. And if you both reach the climax at the same time, it's very powerful. And there's ways that you can do that. Again, research on the internet will give you some really good information on that. This video, I don't have time to get into all the details. But that is the principle of what you want to do. Now, let's look at this and why it works. Going back to what I was saying about the goddess Aset and Isis, or they're both one and the same, but nature. You have to understand that Isis was the original deity that later on became Mary, the Virgin Mary. And it was the Roman Emperor Constantine at the Conference of Nicaea in 325 AD that switched it all around. Okay? So the Immaculate Conception is really an analogy to what's going on when you have the lovemaking process. Now, the key to making this magic work, to making sex magic work, is not only the techniques that I've given you, but it is consistency. You have to repeatedly do it. It is not a one-time deal. Because if you do it one time and forget about it, you do what we call as aborting the baby. Now let me explain that. Now, when Aset became pregnant, the Immaculate Conception, and she was pregnant with Heru, baby Horus, or Jesus, she had to nurture him. Because if she didn't, the baby would be aborted. And even after she gave birth, the virgin birth, to Heru, she had to prepare him for kingship, to take control of the throne from Set. And Set is symbolized by pleasure, unfettered. Because Set was destroying Egypt, destroying Kemet, because he was indulging in all kinds of low pleasures. And he even tried to tempt Horus, or Heru, with that. But Heru, symbolization of the will, did not succumb to that. So this is what you have to look at, that when you're performing that intercourse, you're planting a seed. You have the baby, you must nurture it. And if you don't nurture it, it will be aborted. I remember years ago they had this little game that you could purchase, and it was like a virtual pet. And it would beep every time the pet was hungry, or it needed affection, or it wanted to play. And if you didn't give it a virtual food or play with it, it would die. This is the same thing with your objective. You have the visualization in mind, you're performing the sex magic through pleasuring yourself or having intercourse, and you're holding it out for as long as possible. And then when you have that orgasm explode, then you keep that visualization in mind, and then until you relax. And you wash, rinse, and repeat. And you do it for as long as it takes until what you want comes to fruition. Because if you do not stay with it, then you will abort that baby, you will abort the mission. And the mission is whatever objective you set for yourself. So I want you to keep that in mind. It's very important, because too many people that I've counseled, they start out, and then after like 3 or 4 tries or means to doing it, they fall back into doing it just for pleasure's sake. And you don't want to get into the whole lustful, animalistic nurturing of that low, what we call as sahu thing, because that'll take you wrong direction totally. All right, so think about that. And this is a means to an end. It's a means to become God, because you're using your power for a positive thing. And when you see how this works, and when you see that what you want comes to you, because when you have that visualization and you're channeling that chi energy into it, you're pulling from the realm of infinite possibilities, one possibility that you desire, and you're bringing it into this 4th dimensional experience, and it becomes the reality for you to interact with. And it's a beautiful thing. So I want you to think about everything that I've said and stay on course. Understand that if you keep in mind that you are God man and God woman, and do everything to express that, then you are on the right path and you do nothing wrong. And the ruling elite will lose control and power over you. So I'm going to bring this video to a close, and I want to let you know that if you like this video, please think about becoming a Patreon supporter. The link is in the bottom. Or we have free ebooks that you can download and read. They're very good material. So until my next video, this is Kisank Ma Keparu, son of Tahuti and Ma'at. Amen Ra.